What's going on, YouTube? There have been a lot of video games that have been deemed inappropriate for kids because of violence, sexual themes, and other mature content. These controversies go all the way back to 1971 when the first arcade video game was released. But when we were kids, we didn't look at the ESRB rating and care that it was for mature audiences. We just wanted to play the newest and best video game. I wanted to go over some of the games that I played when I was younger, but I had to make sure that my parents weren't around. Otherwise, it would have led to a lengthy and awkward conversation. And parents have a tendency of walking into your room right when there's a mature cutscene taking place. I always had the remote ready to flip to another channel just in case, because the golden rule of video games, no cutscene shall be skipped. Starting off our list is Gears of War. This game didn't have any nudity, likely because the only female in the first game was Anya, and she was basically just a voice, but the violence in the game was off the charts. I remember running up and chainsawing locusts with the Lancer, and it was one of the coolest things to do. Or obliterating locusts by hitting that sweet spot with a shotgun, or getting that perfect headshot with a sniper. Oh, and don't forget curb stomping enemies when they were down. This game had a lot of violence and gore, but thankfully it wasn't against humans, so it didn't seem that bad. On this list, this was the game that I was the least worried about playing, also because I was older when it came out. Fourth is Mortal Kombat. Now, Mortal Kombat didn't really have profanity, at least not that I can remember, but it had a lot of gore. I remember seeing my first fatality and I was just like, whoa, what the heck is that? Because I was shocked that just happened, but it didn't stop me from playing the game. It just made me want to see what all the other characters' fatalities looked like. But Mortal Kombat one-upped itself by introducing animality, babality, brutality, faction kill, and harakiri. With decapitations, body parts torn limb from limb, guts spread all over the screen, shrieks of horror, and depictions of self-mutilation, Mortal Kombat was one of those games that parents were just not happy seeing their kids play. Next up is Grand Theft Auto 3, which released in 2001. It's crazy that it seems like that was such a long time ago. This is one of those games where I had to play a lot of it on mute because of all the profanity. Not only that, but GTA is notorious for having loading cutscenes that sexualize women or are pretty explicit. But we can't forget one of the weirdest aspects of the game, hiring hookers. Just pull up, honk a few times, and there you go. But whatever money they made from me, I ended up getting it back, by any means necessary, if you know what I mean. Which usually led me to getting 2 stars and then having to escape from the cops. Still one of the best games to play, and it was my introduction into the GTA world, so can't really complain. Second is God of War. Now, if you're not that old and your first God of War game was the 2018 reboot, then just know it was nothing like that before, and Kratos was not so fatherly.
Boy. Hold on, boy! Run, boy!
Kratos was a beast, filled with rage and anger, and he did not care about anything or anyone getting in his way. He was slaughtering enemies and killing gods and goddesses left and right. You're running around decapitating people, tearing bodies in half, killing enemies with their own limbs. Not only was the game violent, but it had a good share of nudity and sexual content. Just take a look at the character design of Medusa. I mean, why did she have to look so provocative? And also, there was no shortage of topless female characters, and I'm looking at you specifically, Aphrodite. In God of War 1, when Kratos reaches Athens, in his chambers on the ship, there are topless women in his bed. But this is the only cutscene like that. There's multiple scenes throughout the God of War series where you can interact with these characters, and it leads you to getting red or green orbs. Definitely something kids weren't expecting to see or should be watching. And lastly, the golden trophy winner for the most inappropriate game for kids goes to Conker's Bad Fur Day, another game which released in 2001. I'm actually still shocked that Nintendo even allowed this type of game to be on the N64. This game included a lot of over-the-top violence, sexual content, and language. Who can forget the Sunflower and King Bee, fighting the boiler and figuring out his weakness?
Balls of brassa, polished to the nth degree.
And every guy knows that pain. And the Great Mighty Pooh.
I am the great mighty Pooh, and I'm going to throw my shit at you. A huge supply of tish comes from my chocolate starfish. How about some scat, you little twat?
To name some of the few shocking things in the game. But overall, the game was really fun to play. Even the multiplayer had a lot of fun elements. The game also surprisingly has a ton of movie spoofs that I didn't know when I was younger, but when I got older and more culturally savvy, I realized that it included references from movies like Pulp Fiction, The Matrix, Kill Bill, Aliens, Conan the Destroyer, and so many more. I really wish that they would remake it for the current generation of consoles or PC because it's just a fun game to play. Well, that's it. Those are my top 5 games which I played in my childhood that we really shouldn't have played as kids. Probably not going to let my own kids play these type of games until they're way older. Throughout the years, there's been a lot of hate towards video games in the mainstream media. Many families have sued, unsuccessfully I might add, developers for publishing their games. Now, Rockstar has probably been sued the most. And actually in 2010, California came out with a law which limited the sale of games with violent content, but that was overturned by the Supreme Court in 2011. Other states have also tried, all unsuccessfully. Many people claim that video games are a source of violence, but there haven't been many conclusive studies stating that video games cause kids to turn out messed up. In fact, studies from 2001, 2004, 2005, and 2008 all stated that there was very little to no evidence to support the claim that people that committed violent crimes was due to playing violent video games as kids. So, to finish up, what is a video game that you played when you were younger that you realized wasn't really a kid's game? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, have a cow.